Hi guys, and welcome back to the next video. And as you can probably tell from what is playing, is I am doing another speed build. And I'm going to do this one a slightly different in the sense that I'm actually going to talk over it for a bit, not the whole thing, because I can't talk for as long as this video is going to end up being, or keep it interesting enough, because my life is not that interesting. I don't have that much to talk about. But basically, you're probably thinking, you're like, oh Scott, another Sim series, we already have 3 or 4 if you count the challenge thing, what are you doing? And basically, I'm planning on stopping 2 of my Sim series and replacing them with this one. Now this one is only a temporary Sim series, it'll only get like a maximum like 14 episodes out of it, because I'm planning on doing the Sims 4 Hunger Games, and that will take place off the 4 Little Sisters and the Room Challenge. And the reason for that is 4 Little Sisters, I felt had quite like too many rules that I had to follow and make sure I kept with, and the Room Challenge could only be so interesting because you were in one house. So I'm still planning on keeping the Legacy Challenge, because at the moment my Legacy Challenge is kind of like the Rosebud Challenge and I'm just earning money and building a house, and I'm quite enjoying that now that I've got a house and they've got good in their careers and you're able to see that it's improving. But this, the Hunger Games Challenge, is different in the sense, if you haven't heard about it, I hadn't heard about it until recently, and I was like, that actually seems quite cool, I want to try that. And basically there's 8 house contestant people, like tributes, and each week you do a challenge round and a death round, and I don't control them. Basically they're on like free reign, they can do what they want, lots of free will, so it'll be quite interesting to just sort of commentate on them and see how they play out, and I feel like it'll be quite interesting. Now normally you do it with a theme. The one I'm watching is by Coffee, I'll put her video links down in the description, and hers is Disney themed, and I like that. But what I think I'm going to do is, I've left a poll down in the description, and that is either, my themes that I was going to do was TV characters, celebrities, YouTubers I watch, or YouTubers I'm friends with. So if you all vote down there, and then I will decide based off what gets the most votes on the Sims I'll create. Now the series is a learning process for me. If you know more about it, that'd be good to know. Tell me what you know, what I have to do. I'm sort of going off of what I'm watching her videos, and I'm quite enjoying like the series. I think it'll be fun to do. It'll be different in the sense that the Sims will die. Like, that is what the aim of it is a Sim will die, but how they die is different. That's what we don't know, and we don't know who will die because it's all on free will. So we will just have to see. So it's different things, like the death rounds will be where we put everyone in a pool, build a wall up, and the first person to die loses, basically. Or like the challenge round could be, we make everyone run on treadmills and the first person to get off loses and they get a punishment. And you decide the punishment, depending on what it is. Like, it could be they're not allowed to use the computers or around any electronics. They get solitude for like the full 12 hours. They're not allowed to interact with anyone. But you all decide that. So I'm quite excited for that. So there's also the winner of the challenge also gets a reward and gets put into like this reward house, which they has basically everything, like everything at the top standard kind of thing. So as you can probably see from the build so far, I have built like a porch thing. I've went for a sort of modern style house, and this is the main house, the one that I'll live in. It only has like a living room with 1 couch, it has a bedroom and 1 toilet, like 1 bathroom. So it's up to them on their free will if they happen to think, yeah, I'm going to go to the toilet, compared to the ones who don't. And then it means when it comes to challenge, they'll have their needs up because they'll have been smarter about it. So it's quite interesting to see how it'll all play out. Now, I'm trying something different with this, as in, I'm not really sure. It seems like I build everything. I don't know what I'm doing. I just build and see if I like it or not. And I was actually really happy with how this one turned out. I thought it was quite interesting. It was quite different. I don't actually have any custom content on it. I have Sims 4 Spaddy on it, and the working one, and one of the other ones that I downloaded I've forgotten the names of. So I've used quite a lot of that stuff because I like it. It's very like modern, simple, kind of IKEA like, which is what I like. But yeah, so this is just the main house I'm building now, and if you see any like long pauses, it's because I was either in a Skype call with someone, or was watching the last couple episodes of The Messengers, basically. So that's why I've maybe paused it, because something exciting's happened in the TV show and I'm like, oh, gotta pay attention to it. Or something has happened in the sense that someone's asked me something, I've had a conversation or had to tab out to look at something. But I try to keep that to a minimum, and obviously with it being super sped up, the breaks are maybe like 10-15 seconds. Yeah. So I'm now on to the bedroom, and because I've moved objects on, I've filled the whole wall with a mirror, because I like doing mirrored walls in bedrooms. I don't know why. It's just something I quite enjoy, and I like using the plants and all that. As I said, I was trying to go for a very modern style, so it was very sort of like clean, lots of space, very spacious, but still quite modern looking. So it was trying to keep it all in my colour schemes, and as you know, I like my colour schemes. So the bathroom's sort of black and white, the bedroom's sort of blacks and greys. The main like hallway into the kitchen is all a like light grey kind of colour, and the living room is blue. But I liked the theme that I sort of went for this, and this is when, as you can see, like, I discovered the Spady windows and was just like, OMG, yes, need these in my life if ever. So that's why I'm like using all of the Spady windows all of the time throughout this build. I'm just like, Spady windows are my fave. But yeah, it's quite exciting. I'm looking forward to this series. I think it'll be quite fun, and it'll be quite different because, as I said, Sims will die. I normally try and not kill my Sims, but the point of the series is that they do die, and there's not much you can do to stop them, basically. They're all on free will, we just need to wait and see what happens. I really like those chandeliers, the ones you just seen for a second, but annoyingly they need to be like in a mansion, basically, and I don't have a mansion, it's just a small house, so I was stuck with just my normal lights. I tried using a mixture of like wall lights that I don't normally use, and I didn't use like the paper dome lights that I always use. I just tried to mix that up a wee bit. Also, let me know what you think, if you prefer the speed builds where I'm just putting like music over it, or if you prefer the one where I'm actually having a wee conversation with you while I'm building it. I also put these candles on here, they're from this Spady one, because the candles actually count as a light source, which I quite like, and I really like those lights. They're dead modern and sort of different, if you mean, like, reminds me kind of like seaweed. I don't know why, it just does. And I really like these candle things that come with the Spady. Again, they give off light, but I felt like that sort of drew away, rather than like paintings and all that. I thought it was quite good. It sort of drew away from the just plain walls. But I really went out my way with like decorating here. Like, I wanted to try stuff, wanted to have like counters in the living room. I felt it was a bit empty, and stuff like that, but I ended up moving them to the side and putting like plants on it and a frame, and as you can see, I go through so many things when I build. Like, this whole build took me like 2-3 hours maybe tops. That was over 2 days, just because it was late when I started and I had work, so I needed to stop and start again. But yeah, I thought this was going to try it a bit differently this time, like a lot of the sim YouTubers that I watch, like Vixella does, and Delegracy, and they sort of chat while they do the speed build. And I thought that'd be a bit different, just to sort of like talk about it as I'm going. You can like mute it if you don't want it, listen to your own music, or if you do happen to like the sound of my voice, then you can listen to me talk about me building a house in The Sims. Now, I'm kind of regretting the size of the plot I chose. I feel like I maybe should have chosen a slightly smaller one, because I find it difficult to fill all that space. It's just, I do, because obviously I wasn't wanting to put in all the luxury things that you normally have, because the point is that they're in the Hunger Games, but in Sims. So I couldn't just fill it with all the luxury stuff that I would normally. So I think if I did it again, I would have made it in a smaller lot, but by this point I was like, right, I'm going to need space to buy all the items for the challenges, like 8 treadmills and all of that jazz, and I need a good sized swimming pool, and I need space for a second house on the lot, but I needed all that stuff. So this bit was really tedious, like, see, putting rocks down, trying to make them look good was really tedious. And here, I remember watching The Messengers and it got exciting. And I was like, hey, I need to pay attention to this. And then we like, wait a minute, I'm recording, I should probably hurry up and do this. So I just like to do that with the rocks. I don't know why, I just feel like it sort of ties it around. And I also put the plants in and then realised that it wasn't even. The circle is slightly to the left because I could fit 3 on the left and 2 on the right, so I just left it blank so you didn't notice it. I also realised that the pool wasn't like right in the middle, so I made it like 3 on either ends and moved the pool into the middle. I also like those wee spady like flower lotuses because they're lights. I thought it looked quite nice, and just put some ladders into the pool and then put some lights around the pool so it was lit up at night. I use those outdoor lights a lot, I don't know why, I just quite like them. Quite simple but quite nice. So now I'm on to the luxury house. The luxury house is obviously smaller. It's basically got all of the stuff that the big house does, but in smaller quantity because there's only one person in it at a time, really. And it isn't used by everyone. It will be to start with, before the series actually starts. Like, they all get in, they get like a day to do what they want before we start challenges, and from then on, after the first death, it gets locked. So again, I sort of went for like a modern theme to the whole lot, if you mean, with the luxury house, like reward house I suppose it's called. But I did sort of try and go for the decor and all that off it. I went for a bit more like regal, if that makes sense. You'll see when it comes to like putting the actual furniture and all that in, and I went for a sort of blue rather than just your typical like greys or stones that I usually do. So I went for blue, just a bit different. So what I'm building there is the bedroom that the person who won the challenge gets. And then at one point in the series we had a servant who does all the food cooking and all that, so that's their bedroom, and then a bathroom. So that is what I've built there, and as you can tell, as I said, a bit of colour schemes. I've got the living room all in blue, the servant bedroom in blue, the bathroom blue, but then the like challenge winning bedroom is sort of like a brown fawny kind of colour, which I quite liked. It was just a wee bit different for a bedroom. Normally I go for a colour scheme, but because obviously it wasn't going to be straight up like this is a girls, this is a guys, because I don't know who will win the challenges, so I don't know who will be in the room, because I could make one that was completely pink and then it could be one of the guys that wins the challenge and he's in there. Obviously that doesn't make too much of a difference, but I thought I would just make it a sort of like gender neutral colour. And as you can see, as I said about the spady windows, love them, putting them in everywhere in this house. I just like how they're quite narrow, but they're like sectioned off so it doesn't seem like too in your face. And there's the sort of like brown that I was going on about. This house I really tried to use lots of decorations like paintings and ornaments and all, just to try and make it look more luxury like, if you mean. This is also what I meant about like it's modern, but it's kind of regal and like old fashioned modern, if that makes sense, with the furniture styles very sort of like fancy looking, the colour schemes kind of fancy looking. I went for the stuff that I don't usually go for, because obviously I go for normally like modern IKEA looking stuff, whereas today I was going for like the fancy mirrors and the fancy cabinets, and like the fancy lights. As you can see here, I tried to put a shelf up. Well, I did put 2 shelves up, but there was a weird thing with it in the sense that it wouldn't let me put anything on them, and I'm not sure what that was. Like, anytime I tried to grab it and put stuff up, it just wasn't having any of it. So I left the shelves anyway, but it just wouldn't let me put anything up there. So the living room, I went for this light blue theme, and as you can see, I've got like that old style blue and white couch, the blue and white rug, the blue and white table, the blue and white fireplace. I really like that sort of like light blue and white combination. There's also enough stuff in there to get away with, like blue and white, which I was quite happy about. And then the wee speakers on the walls that I like doing, and the big fancy old bookcase. Because obviously this is the luxury house, so if they want to read, they can take full advantage of it. If they don't want to, that's fine too. I like those wee plants, like the wee sort of like sticks, that just sort of helps, and I like having move objects on because I can push them into the corners that it wouldn't normally go, and it looks good. I'll use move objects for ornaments and that. I won't use it for objects that the Sims need to like sit on or anything, because that's when it runs into problems and glitching. But I also use the this modern style light, and as I mean, it's sort of like a combination between modern and old, and that's what I used for these cabinets. I also start to play around with the cabinets coming up after I play around with the ovens, because I was like, do I want an old oven, do I want a new oven? I think I ended up deciding on the old oven, just because it matched the sort of rest of the like living room, dining area, and it matched with the sink and the fridge. But one thing I did play around with was all the different fancy cupboards that you get. I discovered this and I was like, OMG, need this. So like putting the big full length cupboard, and then putting like the display cabinet cupboards in just to try that, and then the like fancy corner cupboard. I feel like cupboards, I don't know, it just sort of like pulls away from like the space. It makes it not seem as open. Same as I also put curtains on some of the windows to make it look like this is a luxury house, you're stuck outside and you can't even see in to see what you're missing, kind of thing. Because you feel the challenge. So that was your fault. I also like using big rugs in big spaces like that, because I feel like it doesn't look as open. Even though it's a rug, like there's no objects there, a rug helps sort of like tie it all together. I wonder if I'd be good at like interior designing in real life. I feel like that could be life goals. Because I do like doing it. I like decorating and doing it as long as I don't actually have to do the decorating, if that makes sense. I also use these really old style curtains that I've never used before, but I really like them in that because I'd went for sort of like the old regal style housing, so I liked that. I was quite happy with it. And here I evened out the circle for this one because I hadn't on the other side, and then I used some of the like square hedges, as you will see when I find them. There they go, and like layered them around, because again, it's the luxury house, it's meant to look fancy basically, and like, ha, I win, you didn't, ha. So I quite liked this wee house. I liked all of it, if I'm honest. I like resizing the paintings as you've seen there, and then I remembered I had to do the bedroom for the servant person, so I stuck to blue and whites, again following the sort of like more regal themed, but they're just the servants, so they don't need that much. Also, they have access to that house that 24/7, they don't participate in challenges, they shouldn't ever die. I was going to say can't, but you know me in Sims, it's a possibility, they could die. I also added some windows up here, although that room you can't ever get to it. I just felt it looked a bit too, like, that was obviously could have a room, but it didn't, so I felt like I needed to add one. And then I played around with the stones again, as I said I do with all the paths and the corners. I always get bored of having to swap around stones, but then if I don't swap around stones it looks weird because it's just all the one type of stone. So I need to rotate all of them around and put the lights in like I usually do. I also put the lights in the fence, the hedges, because I thought that quite cool, like just a wee sticking out bit. Now, over here, I am building a graveyard, and I know that seems so morbid, but the 7 of them will die. In the end of it, 7 of them will die, that's the point, it's the Hunger Games. So I was just preemptively building a nice wee graveyard for them, so that when they do die, they have a place to go, rather than just leaving their graves there. It also means then the ghosts can like come and interact. Now I could only fit 6 in without making it unsymmetrical, so I've not decided yet what will happen to the 7th person when they die, but at that point I suppose the series will end, because then we'll have a winner. So they don't exactly need a graveyard, because they were the first at losing basically. So do they really deserve a graveyard? Do they? So I also played around with like the wee stone path here. I liked this one because it didn't seem like too in your face, and then I just trailed along to as though it joined up to the swimming pool path. I quite liked that wee bit. And then I went into the graveyard and put some wee lights above the graves, like where the heads would be. Looked quite nice. And then I also decided to decorate it with some flowers to sort of make it look pretty. As graveyards are, like they're sort of, well, I say pretty, they're upkept quite well. And also with Sims I don't really need to upkeep them because it'll do it itself, which is quite handy. So just filled all that in with some lights, made it look nice. And then I was going to try and put like a fountain or something there, and then I realised I'd done the path wrong. So I put in 2 wee fountains and then had to like move the path, erase it, and then drag it in between so that I could have the wee fountains outside to make the graveyard look prettier, I suppose. I just used those wee ball fountains, I hadn't used them before. I don't really use fountains, so this was quite nice to try something a bit different. Put that gate on, but that gate will be getting deleted once they're all inside. Because I don't need them to ever leave, because it's the Hunger Games, you don't leave the arena. So that is the whole like area done. I went in and I tweaked and added things like a coffee machine and wee ornaments and stuff that I hadn't done to this house, that I felt like I needed. Just stuff to make it look nicer, because obviously when they're in there they'll get that's the time for them to try and get their skills up, and not their skills but like their needs up, because they're in a place where they're not going to die, they're in luxury basically. But yes, I've just started playing around with more ornaments and that. I really like that one. I don't know where that came from, but I was like, yes, need it in my life now, get in there. I also really liked using the partitions. I don't know why, I just really liked using them. I used one in the bedroom in the other house, and I used one there in the living room. I don't ever use them. I tried using a lot of things that I don't normally in this house, just to be a bit different and see if it worked, and I was actually really happy with the outcome. I really liked it, and I'm hoping that the series will be quite good. It'll be interesting, I mean, because none of it is done by me. You all decide the punishments and whatnot, like you get to decide that, which will be quite interesting because it's up to you then. You can be as mean as you want, it just can't result in death. I also really like that painting, the one that's Grumpy Cat as a little mermaid, but I didn't feel it stuck to the sort of like regal theme, so I was like, oh, I can't use it. Rip Grumpy Cat, rip everything. I also like these really wee cute plant pot things and the strip lights that come with the Spady. So like put them as though the pillars were lights basically. I thought that looked quite cool. And then I spread out the windows a wee bit, and added some more lights there just to make it look a bit nicer. So that is basically the entire build. As you can see now, there's a few pictures showing up, but yeah, I hope you're excited for the series. Remember to check in the Strawpoll poll and vote on what like theme you want the series to have. And I'm sorry if you're really upset about any of the series that have went. I might bring them back after this, because as I said, this series will end eventually. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to leave a like, comment and subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you all next time. Bye!
Say what you wanna say to me. I don't need your sympathy, I just need to let you go. Heartache, cause what doesn't bend will break. What is keeping me awake is the fact that you moved on. So when I see